Hi, I'm Scoot, and welcome to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I want to start out by welcoming all of you who are new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel, and I hope you would share this with others. We're just building this, and one day it will be a little bigger and fancier than it is right now. But thank you for helping us build this channel. This is an extension of my radio talk show on WWL in New Orleans, and I just can be a little more expressive here than I can be on the air. And I hope you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, it's free. Just subscribe, and we give you a notice every time we post something new. Now, look, I know we've been dealing with a lot of serious shit recently, but there's some fun stuff on this YouTube channel, like my interview with John Lodge of the Moody Blues, Amanda Shaw, a few other interviews. My interview with Sable, who is a Bourbon Street dancer. And a couple of years ago, when the city of New Orleans was trying to raise the minimum stripping age from 18 to 21, which I was totally against. Not that I'm into not that I'm into young women, but I just thought it was ridiculous. I mean, if you can go to war at 18, then why can't you make a decision to strip at 18? And the whole goal was to do something about sex trafficking. There's not a hell of a lot of sex trafficking going on in the stripping business in America. And they found nothing here when they raided some places. So anyway, that conversation is on the YouTube channel. So some of it is kind of fun. But anyway, thank you for being here, and again, thank all of you for becoming new subscribers. So there's something that we really need to talk about. It is spreading. I mean, we're in a pandemic, and it seems like it's getting worse. Something is spreading. It is related to COVID. Call it a variant or whatever. But it is highly, highly contagious. And people are getting it. The sad thing is that it is 100% preventable. And yet people are getting together in gatherings and they're spreading this. And other people are catching it. Loved ones are spreading it to other loved ones. Friends are spreading it to friends. Quite often, even in small gatherings, it spreads. I'm talking about COVID ignorance. COVID ignorance is contagious. It's spreading. And I deal with this here on the YouTube channel. I also deal with it on my Facebook and Instagram outlets. And I deal with it on my radio show on WWL. The total bullshit that people believe on the fucking internet is unbelievable. It is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how people are so quick to believe something that they see on frigging Facebook. Don't you know who contributes to Facebook? I'm not downing Facebook. A lot of good stuff on Facebook. But social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, some wacko, website. Rumble is a website out there that is reckless. That's the best way to put it. Reckless. People who didn't like Twitter holding people accountable, or Facebook holding people accountable to tell the truth, they all go to Rumble now. So you know that Rumble's full of nothing but bullshit. In fact, last night I had an interesting experience with YouTube. I posted a video last night about QAnon rep Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. And I wanted to explain for anybody who gets hysterical about this, Twitter suspended her for 1 week because she made up shit about COVID and masks and the vaccine. She made up stuff. In other words, she lied. She was giving people misinformation, purposely misleading people, and Twitter called her on it. And they banned her for a week. So now she's been banned 3 times. I explained this in the video. In fact, it's the video is titled let's see, what is the video titled? Representative QAnon is not being censored. And I go into detail from my perspective in the media of explaining why she's not being censored and why that the social media platforms are censoring lies. They're not censoring free speech. And there's a difference. Anyway, you can check that video out. I think it's very accurately explained there. But anyway, I said at one point, I said that I think she's too stupid to realize that she needs to tell the truth, and said a couple of other things. And YouTube maybe threw a complaint because there are people who want to silence me. There are people who want to silence me. And sometimes the more I ignore them, the more aggressive they get. Well, you're not going to silence the truth, and you're not going to silence me. So somebody maybe complained to YouTube that what I said about Marjorie Taylor Greene was inappropriate, and they were offended, and so maybe they flagged it. I don't know, but YouTube took that video down almost immediately. I got this notice that I was guilty of violating harassment and cyberbullying rules on YouTube, and there was a space for me to appeal the removal of the video. I appealed. And YouTube, after my appeal, they accepted my appeal and put the video right back up. And right now, it's right here on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. And the video titled Representative QAnon is not being censored. Yeah, that was initially censored by Facebook. I'm sorry, by YouTube. Initially censored by YouTube, but through my appeal, they put it back up. And I explained that I'm just expressing my opinion. And what I was doing did not rise to the level of harassment or cyberbullying. And I pointed out what I do for a living and that there are people who want to silence me. And chances are they got some just, bullshit person who was offended because they're an MTG supporter. Maybe they're a QAnon supporter and they didn't like what I was saying. That is censorship. The idea that you don't like somebody's thought and so you want to cut the thought off, that is freaking censorship. So don't give me this bullshit about, oh, I'm being censored. I have a conservative voice. I'm being censored. Um, maybe that happens occasionally. It's not fair if it does. But, you know, lying and just being stupid. Well, you can be stupid. We have the freedom to be stupid, but you can't lie, and you can't use a social media platform to mislead people. It's really that simple. And man, the crap that I deal with callers and texts and some emails. Look, there are a lot of really smart, great people who call my radio show, but there are a few that get through that scare the crap out of me because these are people who vote. And when you listen to the ignorance and you think about these people voting, it's scary as shit. Because if this is how they get their information, how in the hell do they get information on who to vote for? From Facebook, from social media. I mean, it is just, this is a low point in America. It really is. And ignorance is so contagious. People spread it. They spread ignorance to each other. It's discouraging. But I love that we have a chance. And you see, and those people are very noisy. They make a lot of noise. They're noisemakers. They don't do anything. They're just freaking noisemakers. But you and I have an opportunity through YouTube and my radio show on WWL to counter that, to set the record straight, to put that in its place, to call it out as ignorance. Doctors say if you're pregnant, get the vaccine. Get it. This week, I read a story about a woman in St. Louis, and she gave birth to a baby that had the COVID antibodies from the vaccine, that had the antibodies against COVID because the pregnant mother was vaccinated. There's also a chance of something going wrong with the pregnancy, with the birth of the child, or premature birth to the point where it could be dangerous for mothers who don't get the vaccination. And yet many still refuse to get it. I love that you care about the baby that you're carrying. I know. You hear this too. Well, they don't know what's in it. Well, they don't know what it's going to do. Well, you know, we don't know what the long range impact is going to be, but we know what the short range and long range impact is if you get COVID. It stays in your body. It has a residual negative impact on the human body, especially for young people. So I just I don't get it. We would not be where we are right now if more people got vaccinated. And I'm going to bring this up again. I've talked about this here and I've talked about this on the radio show. The people who are insisting that it's illegal immigrants coming across the border and causing this spread are lying. Too many people are coming across the border. I'm sure many of them are COVID positive. Give them all vaccines. Do something about the border. The border's in crisis. But that's not why we have the fourth surge. It's because of unvaccinated Americans. And they don't want to take the blame. And they know it. And there's more evidence convincing them that it is their fault. And so they point their finger at the border. Everything that goes wrong in this country is not because of the border. A lot of it has to do with Americans. So suck it up, Buttercup, and accept accountability and do the right thing. And I love the people who are still arguing that. In fact, I think Congressman Steve Scalise is talking about wearing a mask is submitting to government control. What the fuck? How is how in the hell is the government controlling you? It's not a muzzle. You can still talk. Is the government controlling you when the government tells you when a hurricane's coming to evacuate? The government tells you to evacuate. Are they controlling you? No. Sometimes the government, look, I am for small government, I'm for lower taxes. I am not for the government solving our problems. I'm for giving people the information that they need to solve their own problems. But sometimes the government does the right thing, and everything the government does is not wrong. I know a couple of people who are trying to get treatment in the hospital, and they can't because the doctors and the nurses and the beds are booked up with bozo boneheads who got COVID because they didn't get vaccinated. Oh, I know some people who get vaccinated get it. It's true. Tell me one thing that is 100% of a guarantee. Nothing. And what about seatbelts? The government tells you to wear a seatbelt, but you can find information on the internet that shows this person in this accident died because they wore a seatbelt. There are going to be people who die because they're wearing their seatbelt, but that's a small fraction of the cases. So it's worth it to fasten your seatbelt in the same way that it's worth it to get the vaccine. We know about certain things that can happen. There's a 15-year-old across the lake from us here in New Orleans. And this 15-year-old girl did not get vaccinated. The mother was vaccinated, but the daughter didn't get vaccinated. She was deathly ill. For babies, 104 is still a very high temperature. For a 15-year-old, almost 104 is really dangerous. She started off with a stomach ache, and she got full-blown COVID. And she was so sorry she didn't get the vaccine. And as soon as she gets better, as soon as she can, she's getting the vaccine. And very quickly, let me remind you that there are no stories. There are no stories of people who lost loved ones who said, "Yeah, my mom's dead. I'm sure glad she did not get the vaccine." You don't hear those stories. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to believe something and then, change your mind and go, "You know what? I've got new information. I've got new information, and with this new information, I think I need to get vaccinated." I applaud those of you who are doing that. And there are many, many, many conservatives and Republicans and even Trump supporters who are getting vaccinated. They're not buying into the bullshit. So don't lump everybody into the same category. Thank you for joining me here on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. And again, I welcome those of you who are new subscribers. And sometimes we have fun here, but we've just had a lot of stuff to talk about recently, and we're going to continue to do that as long as we have to. I mean, we've got to pull together, and we can, but we just need more people to get vaccinated and more people to wear a mask and stop this ridiculous shit about, oh, I don't want to be controlled by the government. That's just stupidity. And also, I did a recent video here on YouTube about Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul. He says, I'm against mask mandates. I choose freedom. Like you're some kind of big freedom fighter. Like you were on the battlefield fighting for our freedom. Not wearing a mask, being against being against mask mandates does not make you a freedom fighter. All right, I know we went a little long with this video, but sometimes I get carried away. I get very passionate. Join me on my radio show on WWL. If you're in New Orleans or the Gulf South, it's 870 AM, 1053 FM, or you can go to WWL.com and listen live, or download the app Odyssey, AUDACY, and type in WWL. I'm on the air Monday through Friday from 1 to 4 Central Time. And again, thank you for joining me on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel.